Hello, this is Bill Clodsey recording a War of the Spark draft, my first ever draft of this event, and my impressions of this format is it tends to be a bit slower, but you are rewarded for some early board presence because it limits what your opponent can do. They can't throw out some of the planeswalkers that have no way to defend themselves. They'll just open themselves up to losing more loyalty. Now, we have one of the gods. These new gods kind of are resilient. They get shuffled back into your... not shuffled back. They get put back into your library to draw pretty soon. That's definitely going to be my pick here, even if I don't know exactly what it does. Oh, wow. So when it attacks, you get kind of a free extra attack from your hand. Grateful Apparition is another one I'd be happy to start with. Jiang's pretty good. Bloom Hulk, one of my favorite commons. But that is a god to start things off. I'm happy with that. Planeswalkers will generally disappear pretty quickly, but this is going to be better than our uncommon Planeswalker there. So a Planeswalker is missing from this pack. Someone opened a rare one. I was wondering if every pack was going to contain an additional Planeswalker card, but no, it just seems to be that every pack is guaranteed to have one, but it'll take the appropriate rarity slot. Okay, I do want to avoid kind of the vanilla cards until later picks. Ugin's Conjurant has been somewhat exciting, but yeah, maybe without the fixing in this set, it'll be harder to get a 3-color deck going. However, this card especially combos with the Raise Boar God here, because you can put a creature attacking into play from your hand every turn and get it back. And this one has an amazing enter the battlefield effect. So I'm definitely happy with that. On the other hand, we see Bloom Hulk. Oh wow, what a pack, in fact. So yeah, maybe that was a bit speculative. I do like this card a lot. Draw card, gain 3 life, 2/3 flyer. Not as good as the Raise Boar God. So I'm definitely pulled more into red. Now here we have one of the best commons. Ob Nixilis's Cruelty, maybe the best common, but there's a couple really good ones. Bloom Hulk would work quite well with the Raise Boar. And Angrath's Rampage might be decent, but not insane. Yeah, that's really tough. I'm actually going to go with the Bloom Hulk here over Cruelty. That looks a bit weird, but this combo looks pretty strong, and Bloom Hulk is just really good on its own, and in a format full of Planeswalkers. In a format of Planeswalkers, it's going to be powerful. When this thing enters the battlefield, amass 2, that's pretty good. Zombies you control have... zombie tokens you control have trample. Decent, and that's not a bad one to bring in with the Raise Boar. And it's not that I'm trying to combo everything with the Raise Boar, it's just that, you know, it works well enough on its own, and then there's some extra upside. Law Rune Enforcer is one of the better cards. Converted mana cost 2 or greater, gets tapped down. I'm not sure we're going to find all the fixing we need, but yeah, that's probably better than just another red card here. So I'm going to grab Law Rune Enforcer. Even in an aggressive deck, this can be quite strong. Let's see, we find a Gateway Plaza. We find another pretty good green card, a 6/5 that can't be blocked by more than one creature, and neither can your other stuff. Some worse red cards. And yeah, maybe we just want to get big creatures. I mean, I understand that this is a kind of grindy format where you know, the size of your creatures might not matter that much if your opponent just has enough removal for them. But still, I mean, a 6/5 for 5 is nothing to nothing to scoff at. Okay, so now we're pulled a little back into green with this Bloom Hulk and this Troll. So what is this thing? Haste? and it gets plus X plus O until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. That seems really strong. There's also the Invader, but not quite as powerful. This might not be super easy to cast, but yeah, like I wouldn't have expected to go into a straightforward powerful deck like this on my first draft, but I'm not too sad about it. New Horizons and another Elite Guard Mage, which is double off color if we're going into this stuff. So I think we have to ignore it here. And I'll be happy enough taking New Horizons that can get a turn 4 Izarg into play. It's a great thing to follow up with Bloom Hulk so you can proliferate that counter. Yeah, definitely. Definitely grab that. Raging Crunch. I love this thing. Can't attack alone, that's why we have a little bit of haste here. And, well, worth mentioning, you can bring it in with Izarg and it'll come in attacking. Yeah, good size of a creature. Bond of Flourishing. Nahiri's Stoneblades. This is an interesting trick because if you're attacking with a bunch of small creatures and one gets through to ping a planeswalker, well, you can all of a sudden maybe turn it into removal for that planeswalker. Still, I might take Bond of Flourishing here. Most of our Gruul cards are permanents. Even New Horizons is a permanent. And there's not much else I'm too interested in there. Vivian's Grizzly. Some card advantage eventually. Look at the top card of your library. That might be a good one if our Razor ever does get tucked under the top couple cards. We know when we're about to draw it and we can just get it off of this. Maybe that could be okay. Oh, Goblin Assault Team, a 4/1 haste. So what is it, a lightning elemental that was like this, except this one puts a 1/1 counter when it dies. Yeah, I really think that'll be a strong one, especially if you do have some early creatures. We don't have early creatures, but maybe we'll get there. Sideboard card. Emergent Zone. What is this? Sacrifice and you can flash in a creature or something. Kind of expensive for a play, but if that's turning into a removal spell, then that might be better. Another Planeswalker here. Target artifact you control, well, we won't have any, becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature. Yeah, one difference I'm noticing between Draft and Sealed right away is that Sealed had a lot more Planeswalkers. Draft, just most people will take theirs as soon as they get them. Yeah, I'm not looking into white here. Saheeli's not going to be strong enough. There's Mana Geode, Thundering Ceratok, another Assault Team, and just a 2/2. I'm going to leave the 2/2 alone and take either the Assault Team or the Ceratok. When it dies, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Yeah, I'll take the Assault Team here. Our 5-drop slot is pretty stacked as it is. Mowu. Put more counters on it. It's already Trample and Vigilance for a 3/3. It's the kind of card that works well with the Assault Team. Here's our Cruelty again, a nice mythic common. And what is this Planeswalker? When a big creature comes into play, draw a card. We can also untap a permanent. We have some big creatures, including these Assault Teams, Bloom Hulk. Pretty much all of our creatures are big enough. So that could definitely be worth considering here. Draw a card. And it's 7 loyalty and kind of gives something vigilance. So in a way that protects itself. Is that better than Mowu? Very tough. I'm going to grab it. It's our first Planeswalker. Heartfire. It's a big cost to cast this. I'll take Kiora. Wow, more big creatures. Pollen Bright Druid is definitely one I'm interested in. But I believe Challenger Troll is just big enough that nothing can compete with it. What I am worried about is getting no 2-drops in a deck like this, and then having nothing to do early, no early pressure. Yeah, maybe I will take Pollen Bright Druid. We have a lot of ways to get these counters already, and we have no 2-drop, and this is just a pretty good one. Shoot. Dovin, Hand of Control. So you get to bubble a permanent with this. Not so useful for us, especially since we don't have much blue and white in this deck, New Horizons notwithstanding. Bond of Passion. Grab a creature, 2 damage to any other target. I wonder if this card will be better than it looks. I also like Chandra's Pyrohelix and Arlen's Wolf for what it's worth. These pretty early evasive creatures are great ways to pressure planeswalkers. Pyrohelix is also a pretty good way, and Bond of Passion is something I'm kind of interested in for a deck like this, but maybe we just take the Pyrohelix. There's enough going on that it's worth having one of this effect. We get another chance at the Wolf and a couple other random creatures. Snare Spinner I would guess is better if you're more defensive and you need to protect your planeswalkers from flyers especially, but not very good on offense. I suppose it's better if you have Huatli, which can turn into an assault formation. Well, it is an assault formation effect where your creatures do damage equal to their toughness instead. But Arlen's Wolf is good enough here. Nice rare Boros Angel here. Storm the Citadel. All your creatures get +2/+2. And they can destroy permanents. No, I don't think... I think that's a fine sideboard card, but not the kind of card we want because we're not going so wide. Now what is this? Crunch Wrangler. Trample and it gets bigger when we play big things. Yeah, that looks even better than the Wolf here, especially since it's one of our first few creatures. One of our first few early creatures, that is. Skywing, no red card. Let's see, some milling, some flyers. Shriek Diver has really impressed me. If you've seen my sealed that I posted, I really enjoyed using that, but let's take the card we can play. Turret Ogre. Wow, so not much of a downside here. In fact, it's all upside. It's a 4/3 reach for 4. Wow, good old Turret Ogre. Is that better than the Assault Team? Most of the time, yeah, I think it'll be better. And we do want some reach if we can get it. Here we have, let's see, we have Giant Growth. Do we have any trample? We do have some trample going on here. Not a ton of it, but we have the Crunch Wrangler and so forth. And Giant Growth is just a really efficient way of pumping something +3/+3. All right, Steady Aim and Blind Blast. I'm not convinced that Blind Blast is that good. Kind of hard to do that and Assault Team on the same turn, but Steady Aim could be very good to save our thing from a -5/-5 spell in a turn if we really want to. Veto is pretty good. It's not something I would want as much as Giant Growth because you can't really use it as a burn spell, but there it is. Destroy target artifact or land versus Samut Sprint. I like the Sprint. We need some more early creatures if we're going to take advantage of these tricks. If we have all big creatures, then the tricks get a lot worse. Because when are we going to get to cast them? And why would we need to cast them? Mizium Tank, a vehicle. And this is more of an is-it payoff. Not that the guilds really exist, but it's a good in a spells deck. Bloom Hulk, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm getting happier and happier that I picked up this Kiora when I did, because our whole deck seems to be built around it. There's another Crunch Wrangler, and our deck works pretty well with it, but Bloom Hulk is just, it's got to be one of the better cards. That pick there might be wrong, but this is one of the better 4-drops I can imagine getting. Another New Horizons, yeah, that'll put some counters on. Now I'll take random 2/2 vanilla creatures that seem to be disappearing. Courage and Crisis, I guess that's pretty good, but But yeah, let me take New Horizons. Interplanar Beacon. What is this card? When you cast a Planeswalker, I see. You gain a life, I guess. Bond of Passion. I could see that being okay. Here I just want the little creature. It doesn't look like much, but we just have so little going on now that I want to make sure we have some early plays, especially so we can cast these New Horizons and get some value out of it. 1/1 counter on each creature you control, then gain 1 life for each creature you control. That's very good. And here's Sarkhan's Catharsis, which kills a Planeswalker or your opponent. Both of those are good options. And then Band Together, yeah. Up to 2 target creatures you control both punch. It's instant speed, and it kills just about anything, so a perfect pickup. Tybalt's Rager. Oh, excellent. Yeah, we need another early thing. This one is great to put a 1/1 counter on. It's a mana sink in the late game, and I'm glad we found another 2-drop that we can get behind here. There's Huatley. So here's the Toughness Matters card, which wouldn't be too bad with our deck, but it does make some of our things weaker, especially these assault teams. So I guess I'm not that into it. But I will take this Bond of Passion. It doesn't look like much, but it looks like a good finisher to me. Arboreal Grazer, no, that's that'd be okay if you had Huatley, I think, but it's not really something for our deck. Another Bloom Hulk, keep them coming. Or Chandra's Pyrohelix. Am I worried about dying in the early game? Let's see what our curve looks like. This is 24 cards with a couple tricks that I might want to cut. Yeah, I could use another Bloom Hulk. Never too many Bloom Hulks. And another Band Together. The only thing we're really missing out on here is... Oh, that's a nice pickup. Iron Bully with all our Proliferate. We're missing out on some card advantage. Turret Ogre. We have good 4-drops here. I guess that's better against flyers. But how aggressive is that? 2 damage to each opponent when it comes in, and it's a 4/3 reach for 4. Hard to do better than that. Yeah, I'll take Giant Growth. Take out Sprint. We have enough random anti-flying that I guess I don't care about that too much. Iron Bully, yeah, that'll come in. I could see cutting things like the Stinger because we just have bigger creatures than our opponent, or we should. Keeping the Band Togethers as our removal. Bond of Passion is a nice finisher. Maybe just 1 Giant Growth. And this will be typical, having a 2-color deck, because half the Planeswalkers are basically free to cast anyway, and whatever deck you go into, like Kiora, it's much easier to cast than a Simic card, because you don't even have to be Simic. Bond of Passion, I'm not sure about that one. Rager, Assailant, some early stuff to do. Raging Crunch is good enough. Wolf is pretty good. Vivian's Grizzly might be a little underwhelming. Not sure what's better, Iron Bully or Arlen's Wolf, but with all of these Bloom Hulks and assault teams, maybe the Bully's pretty good. Raise Boar. I could see taking out 1 assault team, putting back in Bond of Passion, using Vivian's Grizzly as our big card advantage engine. Band Together, why not? Have a Pyrohelix, can help pressure a Planeswalker. Definitely not sure about Giant Growth. But I could see taking this Bond of Flourishing. Put any permanent you need from the top 3 into your hand, and that's a nice early play to make. Not a bad late game draw either. So what are we taking out? Goblin Assailant, and then playing 24 like this. We really do need an early creature to pump up. So I guess I don't mind cutting Giant Growth. It looks like a weird one to cut, but our stuff is just going to be bigger. It does have some upside though. Yeah, it's a nice trick as a one of. So I'll cut Bond of Passion instead. We're going to have the biggest stuff going on. There are some turns where it could really surprise them and have a kill out of nowhere, but we can probably do without it here. So 16-8, kind of a 10-7 looking deck. Or maybe a 9-7 deck with this few lands, especially with our early red. Now we do have all of these new horizons, so maybe green becomes a bit more important, but we are playing 2 less green or 2 less red to begin with. So I'll go with this. 16 lands. Sounds like a few, but we kind of end our curve at 5, so it's not as bad as it might look. Hopefully these green cards are as powerful as I think. There are going to be decks, based on what I've seen in my 1 or 2 sealeds I've done, is, yeah, decks can just stabilize and kind of get out of control. Our deck can't really do that, but every creature it plays is going to be a threat that they have to deal with. So I'm happy about that. We don't want too many of these assault teams because they're just pretty easy to deal with on their own. But if we do have any creatures in play, they become better threats. Anyway, there we are. I guess this is a Gruul power deck. Let's try it out. Now, despite it being draft, I still expect it to be not so uncommon to be on the draw, but we're not given the choice here. We'll keep this hand. We've got some early stuff to do. Probably proliferate our Kiora 1 or 2 times. Not much to do early. But I am happy we have this Assailant. I think the way I'm going to go here is start with the Assailant and then put a counter on it with the Druid. Or better yet with the Horizons, and then we can proliferate later. There is something to be said for having a counter in play to begin with on the Druid itself, but especially given that we have Horizons and might not even hit a land drop here. We're doing all right. Did they bubble our thing? What happened? I didn't see that, and I can't see what they did. Oh, they would have had to minus it. Right, so they didn't target anything with it. Anyway, let's go ahead and put that counter on the Assailant, and then pressure Dovin here. It's not like we have many instant and sorcery spells, but yeah, there it goes. They're just letting Dovin take some damage. Maybe they'll bubble it this turn. What was that? Callous Dismissal, Amass 1. Not bad. So what then? Untap target permanent. Starts with 7 loyalty. We could untap green and hold up Giant Growth, or we could just let them attack maybe. Yeah, I'll just put it in and not untap anything. Not so worried about Dovin here. It doesn't really get out of control and it doesn't really hurt us. It just bubbles a big thing that might be a lot of pressure for them. Are they going to come in with both at Kiora? Just one, I'll take it. Our creature's worth a little more than one loyalty point on Kiora here, and we draw the land, which is great. Hopefully they don't have up counter magic. I know there is some pretty good counter magic, mostly for creatures and such. I wonder, one thing we could do is tap 3, untap 1, hold up 2 to play around the counter spell that costs 4 and makes us pay 2 extra. I don't know if they're going to have that, but they might. The other thing to do is just play Bloomhulk and draw a card if that resolves. And if it doesn't, well, we have 2 more Bloomhulks. It is this Crush Descent, so I could have played around Crush Descent this turn, but I didn't. 3. Yeah, so now I'll do this tricky play of untap Giant Growth. And maybe, if they're not running a million Crush Descents, they're going to get got by this Giant Growth. Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. That's going to be impossible to beat. Milling themselves, yeah, I guess they're planning on Jace being their win condition. Are they going to come after Kiora? Yeah, they are. With 1 red, I don't see what they could have, so I'm going to block first and then Giant Growth. Oh, I need to pay 1 extra, so I lose the game. Huh. Well, fair enough. Now they know what I have. Watch out for these onboard tricks. What does this one do? If you would draw a card... Okay, so this one is just the win condition. This one is the one instant in my deck can't be cast, which is awful. Draw a card, proliferate. Then what? We could untap something, but it doesn't matter because Dovin's out there. Yeah, this Jace is really impossible to beat because it +1s to draw a card. So it protects itself and draws a card every turn. So if you don't kill it in the first few turns, I mean, it's already paid for itself. And the only way this is risky is if you get down to your last card and then it's killed somehow. Wow, Jace's Triumph with Jace on the field. Casual draw 3 cards. Not an easy game for me. Now they might be holding up counter magic. I mean, they've drawn half their deck, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just have plenty of counter magic here. So what to do? I think I'm going to start with New Horizons. It's one that'll be more difficult for them to counter, and it leaves mana up for Pyrohelix or Giant Growth. So let's come in, prevent all damage that would be dealt to and by this permanent. Well, that doesn't help very much, does it? Here is where I expect them to counter Raging Crunch. The other option is to kill Dovin and get a damage onto Jace before they can do much about it. So we go here and here. Say okay. Then we can untap this mountain and play the Assailant. And that'll work. They have too many cards in their hand. What is this? Finale of Promise. From your cast up to 1 instant or sorcery. Solar Blast. Each creature kills itself. Yeah. Nice. Don't know how we're going to beat this Jace. Haste is potentially decent, but we have no way of getting past this profit. No trample here. So how does this go? We definitely attack into the profit to kill that. I think we're going to add some green. Untap this. Add some more green. Play a Bloom Hulk, because that'll draw us a card here. And I guess we want to draw before we proliferate in case we draw something really good. Riders to attack Jace for 4. And then if that hits, we can Giant Growth it. Doesn't hit. And they know we have the Giant Growth because I messed up before playing against whatever it was. What happened to their Planeswalker? This is a weird set with a lot going on. There it is, Dovin. They really milled themselves here. Jace is at 7, which is just about low enough that we can kill it. And we definitely want to keep it below ultimate because that'll just win them the game that turn. Now the problem is they have 8 mana and they're playing Jeskai, so as long as they answer one of our creatures, sorcery speed, instant speed, blocking, it's not going to matter too much. Bond of Insight, each player mills 4. And then you get 2 instant and or sorceries back. That's really bad. Because if they can draw more cards with this, well, one thing they can do is just bounce one of our things. Another thing they can do is make a huge creature. 3 damage to any target. They got Solar Blaze back, which is going to kill all of our creatures. Well, it doesn't kill Rubble Belt Rioters, but it does kill Bloom Hulk here. So we have a chance. If we have a way of killing Augur, we can maybe kill Jace. We'd have to draw pretty well. We have a couple chances here. We need the fight spell though, so Bond doesn't really help. We could try to draw towards the haste 4/1. That might be our best bet here. Do we get it? Tybalt's Rager, no. Ilharg, the Raise Boar, no. I guess we take the Raise Boar. And then we can play the Raise Boar and attack for 6 or whatever. If only that had haste. Oh, what's the other option? We'll have 6 left over. We could try to draw the fight spell, or the punch spell rather, to kill this with the crunch. Let's do that. Can we get there? Not quite. Not quite this turn. Anyway, let's untap this mountain. If they have another draw spell, I guess we're dead to that. 4, 5, 6, 7. So they lose Augur of Bolus. They're going to block with Augur of Bolus no matter what. So let's get New Horizons over here. Pump up our whatever, I guess our Rioters. And then swing for 5 at Jace. They could just let Jace take it. I didn't expect they would, but that was one downside of not holding up Giant Growth, if they just didn't care. So if they have any way of drawing 4 cards, we lose. They might. Oh, no, it doesn't look like it. It's just Dam Breaker to try to block. Well, that's really good. Oh, no, because they can ultimate Jace. Yeah, that's not good at all. Yeah, kind of, you know, some tough spots there. Couple tough spots where I could have played better. They just had enough to keep me suppressed. What can we do to make things a bit better? The size of creatures is pretty good. Bond of Passion might be a way to really pressure that that Jace. It's just too expensive, I think, especially against Dovin, costing 7. So I'm going to try this out again, and I will try the play here, despite having not quite enough lands in my deck. Have to mulligan that. Okay, they reverted to the old mulligan rule. They were trying out the what they call the London mulligan rule, but now it looks like we're scrying again. Is this hand any good? Probably not. Keep it though. They've also mulliganed Bloom Hulk. I can see topping that. Because if we can find something small to play with our Bond, we can pump that up with the Horizons and then proliferate that counter. And every bit of value helps us out here. We get a that's the band together we needed to survive that last turn. Have 2 of them. Probably just run out Horizons here. It's unclear. Maybe not. It doesn't help us get anywhere. So what would we do this turn? It depends if they have a blocker. If they do nothing, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll go for this Assault Team. Get that early damage in there. Now they can counter stuff if we don't pay enough. Now we can counter stuff. So what could we do? We could try to get New Horizons this turn. Which I think is worth it. And then just attack here before doing anything else. And then I think since they're holding up their counter magic, we just don't do anything. Okay, so that takes off their whole turn. They could have gotten a 2/2 amass creature by countering and we pay 2. But I guess they weren't into that. Now what are we going to do? We can play this Bloom Hulk, which will be difficult for them to counter. And then this will beat a 2/2 in combat. I was wondering if that 4 mana counter magic would be any good. Problem is it's kind of easy to play around. So Crush Descent. Yeah, I'll pay 2. And then I'll proliferate my Assault Team so that my stuff is too big. Take it to 5 over there. It's pretty bad because now both of our creatures are lethal. And this is how I expected some games to go, where our stuff just becomes way too big for them to deal with. Now, how do we manage this? I think we start by just attacking with both. What could this be? Totally lost there. Fine, my haste creature's coming back. They're going to go to 1, and I don't think there's any way they can counter this for 1 mana. So Helix for the win. I guess I'll win the short games and they can win the longer ones. Smooth game there. Okay, I'm going to keep with that idea. Bond of Passion again could be a way, but I think they're not relying on creatures enough for me to really want that. Cool. This is a hand we can keep. They also keep. Pollen Bright Druid will be attacking as a 3/3 on turn 3. If nothing else interesting happens before then. And a 4/4 on turn 4. Wow. Basically Pack Rat. Leading with Island. Wow, smart. Okay. Forest. Don't need too many more lands, but I am playing less lands than usual, so it's not going to keep up like that for too long, I would think. Just get this thing in as a 2/2, but better than a 2/2 because other instances of Proliferate really help this thing. Okay, we have a 1/3 blocker. And I have some decisions to make. Not a bad turn to use New Horizons. Ramps us up to 5 next turn, which can help us do Bloom Hulk and Giant Growth, for instance. Rioters isn't very good this turn. Get in there. Profit's really good. 1/3 for 2 with like not only the upside of this half prowess, but the scry one whenever you cast a spell. Proliferate, draw a card. Yeah, not much value for them. They get to draw a card and scry, well, scry 1, draw a card for 2, and a card. Contentious Plan, I do think this is pretty good if you have a bunch of Planeswalkers, like it makes a lot of sense in their deck. Let's see, 2 mana. Very little they can counter here. What do I want to do? I guess we want this Bloom Hulk. What happens if we do Giant Growth and Riders? We get in 12 damage this turn. Not super reliable. I'm going to cast the Bloom Hulk. We can proliferate. Done. Puts them pretty low again. They are on the back foot. They could untap and kill all of our creatures with their each creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. But it looks like they don't have that. They're just using Bond of Insight to try to find that for next turn maybe, but they might be dead to our Rubble Belt Raiders. There it is, Solar Blaze, rare. At least it's rare. And they do get that back to their hand. And they take away one of our Band Togethers and our Crunch Wrangler. Are they dead? Well, one nice thing is that the Rioters protects itself. They only have 1 blue, which is, it's not an unsummoned format, so we don't have to worry about that. Get our little haste dude into play. Then what? Well, we attack with 12. 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4. We get them down to 2 and kill their prophet. That's what I see here. 8. Tough turn, tough turn. So next turn they're going to kill all of our stuff. But we have to kill their prophet. And then we can play Vivian's Grizzly. So I'm not gonna do the Giant Crow first main here. I will use it if they don't block at all, but it's not worth getting them 3 points lower this turn. They block there. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, that's not going to be quite enough damage. So we can just follow up with a pretty lethal creature. This puts them to 1 next turn. They can 2 for 1 us and get rid of these 2, and as long as they don't have another bounce spell, we should be okay. And even then we might win the long game with Vivian's Grizzly, getting a bunch of cards back. We're already up to 7 mana next turn. Not that double activating is always that good, but hey, if you hit, you can try again. Solar Blaze, goodbye 4/4s. Now, moment of truth. Should I pump first? No, pumping first definitely doesn't make sense. Maybe, no. I think they're F6 tier, so I'm going to try to kill them. Put it on the haste creature if they bounce it, yeah, so they don't untap and do some nonsense. All right, well, you can definitely see from that match how it's possible to lose against a stabilized player with planeswalkers, but you can see how massive creatures might just be too hard for them to beat. Yeah, these control decks, they have like very little to put in the way compared to what they might want, because most of the cards just are doing something else. But yeah, watch out for the Wraths. Round 2, I will be on the play again. Or I'll choose the play here, and I'll keep this kind of awkward hand. It does have the chance of getting a pretty early Challenger Troll, or even just ramping up with a Kiora in play. And our opponent's down to 6, down to 5, down to 4. And conceding. Well, our hand might not have been that much better, and you never know, so easy win. If you concede early, you get more practice in. That's one thing about early in this format, and they learn nothing about our deck either. What you could have done, if they really cared, was play out the first 5 turns just to see what I was doing, what I was up to. This hand is too bad, I think. I'll have to take my first mulligan, and I'll definitely keep this. Bottom that land. Yeah, that's really good. Bottoming the land is almost like drawing a card there. So we have just the perfect curve out for a green deck here. And we don't even need the fixing from Horizons, it's just the ramp and the counter, and that's good enough. When it dies, Proliferate. Is that worth trading with? Probably not. No, it's definitely not. When it dies, Proliferate. 1 damage to any target. Yeah, I think we have to leave that thing alone here, unfortunately. Maybe we can leave this thing alone too. Or we can attack into it and play the wolf. Yeah, I guess I don't mind attacking into the Iron Bully. There's no way they block it. Play the wolf, and just set up for a race here. The Turret Ogre is going to block this Martyr, and then just attack back for more. No reason to block any of that. These Iron Bullies are a mess. A real mess. So they're going to keep attacking for 4 each turn. Now they probably want their Martyr to die. Oh no! This really is a crisis. +1, we take 6, we have to kill this thing, then we take another 8, unless we can double block one of these things. Well, it's not easy, but we've got to stop this before it gets much worse. Land certainly doesn't help. Put a counter somewhere. You know, I guess it doesn't really matter where. But I want these creatures to be about as even as possible. So maybe I put it on the wolf and then they kill the wolf and leave the rager. Because the rager can pump up and is probably a better late game creature. Now we can't attack because then we're just not holding anything back against these bullies. I would have loved to draw a fight spell there. It's pretty much our out. Double block one of these guys. And they're killing the rager, or they have a trick. Kill an attacking or blocking creature. So what we'll do is pump this guy up and then send an extra damage at Iron Bully. So we can just barely kill it here, but they do kill both of our creatures, which is annoying. Now the fight spell doesn't save us, and we need something that kills Iron Bully, and that's not it. Yeah, Selesnya has become a proliferate 1/1 counter deck. What can we do? We can return to nature. They are playing a bunch of those. I don't like Giant Growth as much when we have more of this removal. Pyrohelix is pretty good. Early stuff is still good. Yeah, I mean, we're doing the right stuff here. Is there anything that's much worse than usual? No, I don't think so. But maybe 2 Return to Natures is too many. I could just play 1. Yeah, I'll be on the play here. They're playing 41 cards. Anyway, we'll keep this. It's got all the cards we could ever want. I think my plan is going to be to pump up our assailant here. Kind of delay your proliferate to get as much value out of it as possible. Kiora, maybe that's worth it. First strike as long as it's your turn. Yeah, we can do Kiora into Assault Team, for instance. I wonder if they'll block if I attack. Yeah, let me offer that. They're not going to do it, so let's go with... Oh, this is horrible. Maybe we go Raging Crunch here. Can't attack alone. I imagine what they're going to do is pump up Pouncing Lynx and attack. Yeah, I'm going to get Raging Crunch into play. Didn't see that one coming, did you? And that's just a lot to attack back with. And if the best they can do is attack for 3 and hold back a 1/1 menace, my board is just far better here. Missing out on a card draw from Kiora, but this is not going to be one of those super long games, I don't think. And next turn we can do something tricky like Kiora, untap, play Pollen Bright Druid, put the loyalty back on Kiora, because why not? Or put a counter somewhere, maybe that's even better. Not too surprising, they do have the Iron Bully on time. And this is why I don't want them to be on the play, because they are really curving out. Holding both back. So their plan is to, I guess, trade with the Raging Crunch. And what we can do, I don't know what to do here. I guess we have options, don't we? Yeah, I guess we have options. I can definitely see playing Kiora, minusing playing the Druid and pumping up the Raging Crunch, and attacking with both. And then if they want to trade there, that's fine by me. And then they have to trade both with the Crunch, which is not ideal for them. I mean, they will do it, of course, but... So maybe for that reason it's better to get in a 3-3, but I just don't want them to have any creatures in play. Menacers especially, because if they just have a good reason to hold back the Menacer, they get another hit in on Kiora, and that's no good. And now, Kiora works her magic. No point holding up red, for instance, because then we just won't have a land. Okay, there we go. We can get rid of Mana Geode if we really wanted to. It does put them back an entire turn, potentially, and it looks like they have something to splash. Yeah, I just don't know about this one. Put them at 7, limit what they can do next turn by killing the Geode. They have 4 cards in their hand. Yeah, let's kill it. It's not going to put them off of too many colors, but it does limit what they can do a little bit. They're down to 4. They can't play a 6-drop. Let's see what's the best they can do. Domri, not too scary on its own. They can play a 2-drop, but not a 3-drop. So they play a 3-2 that can make Domri a bit bigger. A 3-2 that can make Domri a bit bigger. When that thing dies, proliferate. So what I kind of want to do here is attack Domri with the Assault Team, and then attack them with the other 2. And then it's almost guaranteed that they are going to let the other 2 through. Better yet, we could attack Domri with everything. Try to keep them off of mana as much as possible. Yeah, I'll just come with everything. They'll still let this happen. I'm going to pump up my 2-2. No reason to untap here. So awkward. Going after their life total might have been decent there, but this gives us a chance to kill Domri here. Unfortunately, we're not really slowing them down much, since Domri's just adding extra mana each turn. Thundering Ceratok, that thing's far too big, but this might help us a lot, if we can get something big enough. Yeah, Bloom Hulk, which draws a card and makes our stuff bigger. Let's draw a card first. Done. And should we attack into that Ceratok? Maybe. The only reason to do that would be to stop them from killing Bloom Hulk. So we trade off Pollen Bright Druid for Bloom Hulk. One has to die. I guess. That is incredibly awkward and awful, but let's do it anyway. Target creature you control fights another target creature. Yeah, and if they keep playing 5-drops off this, that's also horrible. Another Thundering Ceratok. Okay. Pyrohelix, thank goodness. Thank goodness for that, at least. I guess that would have been a decent one to draw last turn. Well, whatever. They're way ahead now. It's just a matter of can we chain together a couple 4-power creatures or get our God Boar for once in our life. That's a 4-power creature. That certainly helps. There it is. Oh, that's so good. We can even play it this turn? Yeah. Here we go. You can get to draw a card off that. Your turn. Now, it's a 6/6 trample that comes back. That's what it really is here, because we don't have any amazing thing to put into play. 1/1 counter here, and then proliferate. We get a mountain, which is no problem. And what else do we get? A potential attack with Ilharg. Then what do? They double block it with these Ceratoks. One dies. They put a 1/1 counter here, so they have a 5/5. Alternatively, we could attack them with everything. Then they don't get that play. If we attack them with everything, they can't kill the boar. Any block they make to kill the boar kills either Populous, leaves both Ceratoks, kills this, and they take 6/3. Then they can attack back and kill Kiora, I guess? No, then we can untap Ilharg. Yeah, why not? Let's just attack with everything. Oh, the other thing they could do there is block both Bloomhulks and the Assailant, so that's not good either. Making Populous into a 5/5. Do we really want to do that? We can just sit back here. They'll know better than we do whether they want to attack past a 6/6. Vivian, what is this monster? Vigilance and Reach for your creatures, and then -2 to look at the top 3 cards. Cast it as if it's a creature card. What the heck? And creature cards is flash. I don't know. This is ridiculous. You may cast it as if it's a creature card. What, like what? I don't understand. What did they get? I guess they have 1 card in exile now. We can definitely kill Vivian here, but that is not a good look for us. Let's just let this happen. I mean, we need to draw something, and we're in a stable position here where we have time. Kind of. I mean, our Planeswalker's not doing as much as theirs is. There's God Eternal Ronus, Death Touch. Yeah, alright. Why are these all huge? Oh, because when this thing comes into play, double all the powers of your things. So what are they going to do? They're going to attack with these guys, all at me. They gain Vigilance. I can take 16 here, I think. Block like this, just so that doesn't get any bigger. And now what? Ooh, another land. Not bad. Not bad at all. They still have the double block on Urhag here, which is just no good for us. So this is getting really bad. I thought it was an aggressive deck, but it's really just like this big mid-range deck. There's another Iron Bully. I don't know how I tapped a green, but... Yep, sorry. Because I have more than enough green to cast anything. 5/6 Trample coming in, 5/5 Death Touch, Reach, Vigilance coming in. So let's go ahead and block that. A god for a god. We'll draw ours first. Maybe we'll just chain 4 power creatures together? No such luck. Okay, pass it to them. Then they can look at these and then cast their things as creatures. So I guess they get to theirs first because we keep drawing things that aren't drawing us cards. There's God Eternal Ronus coming in, doubling the power of all creatures. So we have no real good block here. We have to chump this 8/5. We can try to trade with some other stuff. Try some of this action. Take 6. Of course, we'll want to kill the bigger one. Wait, what happens? These all have trample? Oh, these guys just have trample. Yes, what a format. Thank you for watching. Good luck in your drafts, and hopefully next time we don't get outclassed so easily against another aggro deck.